Hi everybody, it's Naomi here. Welcome to my Getting to Know Me question and answer video. I've had fun with this. I've really had to search for some of the items that I've been asked to show. So let me introduce myself. I'm Naomi West. I'm 52 years old and I've lived in this house all my life. I live on the beautiful Isle of Wight, which is the biggest island in England, and it's the one southern central, right at the bottom, not down the leg part to the southwest, but the one right at the bottom of the map. I live in Sandown, which is there. And there. As I said, I've lived here all my life. I used to be a hairdresser and I managed to work for myself for 10 years, but then I gave it up to look after my dad, who'd had a stroke. I've lived with ill health. My mum has ill health. My dad had ill health most of our lives. My brother is the only fairly healthy one in the family. Like I said, I gave up hairdressing to look after my dad with my mum. So now, since Dad died, Mum and me look after each other. Right, so let's go into questions. Bex Crafts asked, how long have I been crafting and the first thing I made? Well, I've been crafting since I was little. The first thing I made was a button thing. Nan taught me how to sew buttons on, and I made a napkin or a serviette or just a bit of cloth with buttons sewn all over it. That was the first thing. But when I was at school, we were taught how to make things in the late 70s, early 80s, and I made a lampshade and some clothes and things like that. The first tapestry I made at school was this. It's looking a bit ratty now. I think the moth has got to it, but that was the first thing I did. And then there's going to be an avalanche here in a minute. And then I made this. So this is 80, 70, 78, 80, 90, 2000. It's about 40 years old. And it still looks like new. So after school, when I went to training for hairdressing, I used to make a lot of toys for friends, family and things like that. And then I really got into tapestry, and this is one of the first major tapestries that I did. All my best work is either on the wall in the house or it's been given away, so I would take you on a tour, but I don't want to make you dizzy. So that's that one. So I've been, like I said, I've been crafting since I was about 6, 7, and I've tried a lot of different things. Right, so CAD Crafts asks, when did I start crafting? Well, I've answered that, Carol Ann, and then she said, how's my health? Right, so I was diagnosed with ME when I was at college, so I've lived with that for 30 plus years. Then in 2000 and about 2000, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia as well. Both these diseases are similar, and people tend to say that they're the same thing, but they are two different illnesses. Then I was diagnosed with IBS, and then they found out I was a celiac, so I can't have wheat in foods, which is difficult because the non-wheat items are about triple the price of an ordinary one, but still we get by. And then in 2005 my dad died from cancer, and I had a breakdown in 2006, and since that then I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Mainly depression. The anxiety just wows up occasionally, but it's the depression I've got to cope with. So I can't work because I can't be relied on. But Mum and me just struggle on together. But I try and keep positive. And I've forgotten another thing. I have to hang on a mo. Sorry about that. So to help me get over the breakdown, I was advised to make coaching cards and stuff to help me go forward. But I did that, but it didn't seem to help. So what Mum and I did, I made a blessings jar. And every day we put, my son do it, we put a blessing in the jar. And so when I'm really low, or my anxiety or depression is really bad, I take a blessing out. That blessing, it was not a blessing to me, that was to Mum. So one I've got here, we're able to have enough to eat, so it helps us get through the day. And then we have good neighbours who have offered to help, and which is especially good at this time with all the virus going around. We're able to rest when needed and pace ourselves. So I could read these all day to you. And this one's, well, nothing in that one. Some of these are Mum's blessings, so, oops. See, there's over 40 blessings. Well, that's Mum's. I keep picking Mum's ones up. No mortgage or debts. So and this one is life. So they can be quite simple or they can be quite involved, but this really helps. So this I would recommend to anyone who's going through a tough time or who has depression or anxiety, because when you're feeling low and you read through these blessings, it doesn't get you over the slump in depression, but it helps you keep going. So that is one of my best makes. So you just get a sweet jar, or you can make it smaller. We made it big because there was 2 of us. So I would really recommend doing this, and even the act of decorating it can improve your mood. It helps you get through. Right, so that's that question. Wendy Loves Crafting asks, what was the first thing I made? Well, I've told you that, Wendy. And what crafting do I like best? I think paper craft I like best. I tried knitting and jewellery making. I had to give up jewellery making because of my hands. It was too fiddly. I'd make a lovely necklace and then come to putting the catch on, I'd drop it and then the beads and whatever went everywhere. So I had to give that up. I've tried embroidery. Most of my projects though, I have kind of got a bad memory to them because it's usually, this I made when Dad was in hospital, when he had about 5 strokes, two major ones and 3 little ones, and this was when he had a major one, and it helped keep me sane while we were in there, because that was when visiting was more or less unlimited. We'd go in for about 2 o'clock and we wouldn't get home till about 10. So I had to do something while I was out. I couldn't just sit. So I would embroider. So I did that, and I did this tablecloth. Is that the right way around? Yeah. It's a big tablecloth. So that was another stroke while Dad was in hospital. And when Dad was poorly with his cancer, I did knit, but I didn't like it very much because it seemed so slow. But while Dad was in hospital with the cancer, I made this scarf, and this wool was a nightmare. It was meant to be a beginner's project, but if you dropped a stitch with this wool, it was murder to try and pick it up, and you'd have to not delete, what's the word, unpick all your stitches and go back to where you dropped it. So, and then I did other tapestries. There's a huge tapestry on the wall in the lounge, and it took me 3 years to do, but most of that time working on it was different occasions, visiting Dad in hospital or taking him to appointments and then doing it while I was waiting for him. So, this is another another one. But that's a smaller tablecloth. So, is that it? But my first attempt at card making was in 2006-7. I'd been just flicking through the telly. Well, I couldn't concentrate on anything really, and this day I clicked on creating craft, and it was a time when you only had glitter, stamps and embossing powder and things like that. You didn't have dyes or anything. And I thought, oh, perhaps this would help me. And I was mentioning to my mum and to my my brother's mother-in-law, who I call Mama too, because she is like a second mum to me. And she did paper craft, and she said, I think it would help. So she went out and she bought me some bits, and this was my first card. You can see all the mistakes. But that was the first card I did. And I've stuck with paper crafting ever since. I still do, well, I do diamond art now. I showed you that one that I was, that I'd finished. But these are a few of my first makes of card. It was all when medallions were in the fashion. I don't think I've got these stamps anymore, but so I think this was Creative Expression stamp. So that one is the same as this one. And then I got on to slightly bigger cards. So there's that one. No, I still got that stamp. And I tried, I've tried iris folding. That's not bad, but I don't think I prefer it. Oh, and I've tried quilling, and that's too fiddly for my fingers. So, what's that one? And this one was a trial. I was experimenting on making 3D aperture cards. So they're my first cards. Pink Bubble Craft said, Pink Bubble Card said, what craft would I like to try next? Well, it can't be anything that is fiddly. So, like I said, I've tried jewellery making, which is too fiddly. Tried quilling, which is too fiddly. Patchwork maybe, because I can sew. I've made curtains and cushion covers and things like that. So I don't know. Depends what the current thing is. I even tried loom, the loom bands. That was too fiddly. So I don't know. I think I prefer, like I've said, I think I prefer the paper craft. So mini albums, 3D projects, cards, scrapbooking. I've tried scrapbooking, But I've got one I've got to finish, but I've lost my mojo for that at the moment. Wendy Laurie says, what is my current project? Well, I've got 3 on the go. I've got to finish this little book, the last one of the 20 odd that I made. So I've gone off that a bit, as you can understand, making 20. Then I've got this diamond art to start. I haven't even started that yet. I mounted it on chipboard, but that's as far as I got with that. And I'm making encouragement boxes. So for that, this is what I'm actually started. Let's get some of this out of the way, otherwise I can't show you. You need a box or a container, something that'll take it all. You need an elastic band, some cocktail sticks, tea bag, plasters, erasers. I hope you can't hear that. There's a row going on outside, so sorry if you do, because they can tend to spout some really bad language, so I hope it don't come out. Chewing gum and mints. And you're saying, yes, that all won't go in the box, but you only need one of each. So I'll put mints in a little bag, and this is what they're for. The cocktail stick is to remind you to pick out or look for good qualities in your friends, family and other people. The rubber band is so that you can be flexible. The plaster is because we will get hurt quite often, but we need to forgive and be forgiven. Oh, then you need a notebook. I've made little ones to fit. The notebook is to write down your blessings and fill it up and look at it when you feel down. So it's a mini blessings jar. The eraser, the eraser is that we will make mistakes, but erase them, forget about them and move on. And chewing gum is to remind you to stick to what you're doing and you will accomplish anything. Mint is because you're worth a mint to your family and friends. And the tea bag is to remind you to take time to enjoy life and the blessings you have right now. So I've got 10 of these little boxes. So I'm making them up for friends and neighbours and things, or anyone that I know that would like them. I expect Mum has got a list of people she wants me to send to, because that's what happened with this. That's why I had to make so many. Right, so that's my current project. The Scottish Crafter said, name 3 desert island crafty products. So that was hard. To trust you, Sam, for saying that. I think I'd need red liner tape, I've put various stamps, but I don't know if that counts as one or the three. And then I've put my Gemini in dies, so I don't know if that counts as one or more. And finally, Amy Manley 23 said, what's my favourite craft? So, like I said, I've answered that. It's the paper craft side of crafting. But really, I'd have a go at anything as long as it wasn't fiddly. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. That was all the questions I had, which is a ton more than last time, so you got quite a bit of to digest there. I hope it made sense, because I tend to waffle on. Welcome to new subscribers, and I hope you know a bit more about me now. Please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.